Good morning and welcome to Connected with Melissa J. Scott. Today's episode is a really special one for me. It's all about looking deep within yourself and understanding what your fears are all about and understanding where self-belief comes from and how we're really just the product of our environment that shaped us between the ages of 0 to 7 years old. So much of what we do is in our subconscious, and we wonder why we have so much struggle turning on a video camera or marketing ourselves out there to the general public when we're so wrapped up in all these notions and ideas that came to us from early childhood. Now, it's a bit of a special segment because this is actually a recording of a conversation I had with my VIP groups, which I run in a private Facebook group every Monday morning. So I hope you really enjoy it. It's all about self-belief and coming to understand why you do what you do, but more importantly, how to overcome it and where to get the help to overcome things so you can market your business more successfully. I hope the quality is okay for you guys. Like I said, it was a Facebook Live recording. Stay with it. The information is really good and I hope it helps you out. So today, what I'm going to be talking about is pretty deep. And I'll preface this with a big fat, I am not a psychologist. I've done a lot of personal development work with other counsellors who are very good at what they do, go to lots of webinars, talk to a lot of people about self-help, have observed a lot of behaviours with business owners over the years, mine included, of course. But there's a lot of things that hold people back, particularly in the world of marketing and particularly now in the world of communicating online and building trust in times with this COVID happening, and people are responding and reacting all over the place because, we basically are people in trauma, and it doesn't matter even if you haven't been personally involved. We're still concerned about the economy. We're still concerned about, if you're in Victoria, you're concerned because you've gone down into a second lockdown. What does that mean for you and your business, particularly if you're in the Melbourne, Mornington Peninsula area? So there's a lot of tension. There's a lot of people hanging on to their money, which means that, we're out there and we might be marketing a bit or doing all the things that we used to do, but it's not having anywhere near the same amount of impact. And top that with the fact that we are feeling a bit distressed and a bit nervous and a bit shy. And, we're all feeling a bit intimidated. And I had a lovely call, and I won't say who, with a connection marketer last week, and they shared that they're vulnerable about sharing who they are and sharing what they do. They know they're good at what they do. And most people that are small business owners, we know intrinsically that we're good at what we do. But what we are is very shy and very intimidated to actually broadcast that live out there to a big wide world. What it is that we think that's holding us back in the way that we do our marketing. Is it a fear of getting on camera? Is it a fear of our peers? And I know this is a big one for people in the counselling healing world. We have fears around people judging us and being critical. I know one woman in particular, she does things very differently in her industry, and she gets worried that her peers are judging her, even though her audience loves what she's doing and she's very transparent, she's very real, she doesn't talk with jargon, and she just dumbs it right down for people. So the audience loves it. She still has a bit of a around how she gets judged by her peers, and she wonders what they're thinking of her. And that really holds her back from delivering her message authentically. Some people are really full on about they will not share anything personal about themselves. Other people, it's about, could be about their looks. Some people are worried about their weight. People are worried about age. God, there's a million things that really gets in our way, and they're just crazy, crazy beliefs, basically. So, because, anybody that does counselling and stuff always says to you, the answers are within us. We actually have the know-how and we can find out the information. You can always find somebody to help you to do this stuff, but if we're letting these things get in the way and they're slowing us down, then they're actually a roadblock, and we're putting them in front of us as a deterrent because there's actually something bigger underneath. And it could be that you're fearful of growing your audience. It could be that you're fearful of actually, some people self-sabotage. They might have an online course up, and I see people in there all the time, and they put up, some people are in there and they're like, wow, I just turned over $1 million in revenue, was fantastic, and like been doing this 1 year or 2 years, just clocked up $1 million in sales. And you go, whoa, how did they do that? Then you go check out their course that they're running, and it looks like a dog's breakfast. You think, so the website doesn't look good. Anyone can put out this content. Why is it that they're turning over $1 million or $2 million? And then you get another person in the Kajabi platform and goes in the Facebook group and sort of says, oh, I can't get a customer, or the only people that I've been able to sell to are friends and family. I haven't been able to get past 2 grand in revenue. I've been doing this, or and then other people's like, how long does it take to build a course? I've been building this course for 6 months or 12 months, and I've redone my videos 5 times. What is it? Why are other people succeeding and why aren't I? And it's such an incredible opportunity to sort of like witness people. It's not the technical stuff, because you'll always find somebody that can help you with the technology. It's the self belief, and I think it's the fear of actually putting your product forward, or the fear of putting your course forward. And really, what are you going to do with that then? Are you fearful of success? Are you fearful of judgment? Are you fearful of being more successful than people in your family or your partner or your parents? There's a gazillion things that could be getting in the way. And so it's actually the things that we think are our everyday problems aren't actually the problems. They're actually just the roadblocks that we put in the way because our real fears are underneath. And this shit is so deep that this is why I wanted to talk about it today in my clumsy kind of way. Because like I've been going through this myself, and I witness clients going through it all the time. And I think, why have I got one client that has a $500 million company who's not even qualified, didn't go to uni, has no real training in this, has a $500 million company, and I've got another client who's lucky to turn over $100,000. And then I've got other people who can't even be my clients because they can't turn over enough money to, and I'm not even that expensive. I'm not cheap, but I'm not that expensive. And they can't dream of working with me because they can't even afford the course. All fear basically comes back to I'm not good enough. So for me, it was, I had to do a lot of work around the crazy belief that I had that if I wasn't successful, if I wasn't showing up in the world and really, really succeeding, and by succeeding, that meant to me having hundreds of people sign up to my course and being celebrated from the rooftops, then I actually had failed. And therefore, if I fail, I'm not lovable, and therefore I'm not good enough. Now, that is the craziest, most self-limiting belief that you can have, and it can really, really hold you back. And I only share this with you guys. I don't share that too publicly, but I share that with you guys because that's what stopped me from putting my online course together for years. And that's what has even stopped me to a degree in promoting it as big and as brassily and as boldly as I should. And that's what is stopping most people in their businesses. And we get to a certain point, we might get to, a couple of $100,000 turnover or $1 million turnover or $2 million turnover. And for some people, that's just kind of like, holy shit, I can't fathom that turnover. And then for other people, their belief is that, oh, that's nothing. Like really, you should be turning over $20 million. Like, and you should have 20 stuff. Like it really just all comes down to what our beliefs are. And unfortunately, all our beliefs were programmed from between the age of 0 to 7. So what's really fascinating is that you can be in the same family as family members. And if you're the oldest, this is what happened to me. I was the oldest in a family that were farmers on the land. And when I was born, we were going through great struggle, living on overdraft, building houses, paying off the farm. Terrible struggle. I was brought up in a big world of lack, fearfulness around money. People that had money weren't to be trusted, or they must have got it dishonestly. And it was a really difficult time, to sort of grow up around money. Money did not come easy in my world. And then my little sister, who grew up a bit differently. So she's 8 years younger than me. So we actually had money then. My parents had sold the farm. We'd come into a lot of money. And she grew up in a completely different environment, has a completely different relationship with money, but she has different fears to what my fears are. So you can actually have, depending on the phase of life you grew up in your family or whoever it was that you cared for you can have completely different beliefs to other people in your family just based on the period of time that you grew up. So that's pretty deep. But I really just want to share this story because from that experience, hopefully that can really help you guys maybe look a bit deeper and don't look so much at the triggers of what's happening. Look at actually what's behind that. Go deeper. Ask why. But why? Okay, so I have a fear of appearing on video. Okay, so I'm really fearful that once it's out there, I can't take it back. Okay, but why? You actually can take it back. So what is it that you're actually fearing? It could actually be, well, actually, I'm very, like what I said before about the psychologists in the group who are very fearful of what they're fearful or very cautious of what their peers are going to say about them. But why? Why does that matter what your peers say about you if your potential audience actually really eats up what you're saying? So it's deeper than that. Okay, so why? Because your target audience eats up what you're saying. So why do you care what your peers say? Well, actually, when you think about it, when I go back to a time in school, I was humiliated once in the classroom. I'm just making this up. I, got up and spoke on stage, and then my teacher actually humiliated me and made me feel really stupid because I hadn't understood the brief and I said something wrong. I thought I'd done the right thing, but I actually had totally misunderstood. And she really made me feel like a real deal, and I just wanted the ground to swallow me up and die. And from that moment, since then, I have never wanted to speak about what I believe in because I was humiliated so badly by that teacher. Like, wow. Okay. So now we're actually getting somewhere. And it really does mean you have to reflect and go deep on. So this stuff that we put in front, so all we ever want to do in life is prove that we're right. So if we've got that self-limiting belief that, oh, well, if I put something out there and then it's permanent and, that makes me feel fearful, you are going to find reasons and evidence all your life to prove that and make you correct, because we just have a reptilian brain that all it wants to do is protect us. And back in the day when we were running around as cavemen, it was doing a beautiful job protecting us from, saber-toothed tigers and God knows mountain lions, whatever else was out there, other predators. But now we don't have all those things. In the Western world, we don't have so many things to be fearful of. Our brain is out there trying to find things to be fearful of. And so it's just making up shit to try and protect us. If we remember that deep set emotion from that time in school when we were humiliated in front of the class and made to feel really small, and then we developed an absolute instant belief in that moment, which has traveled with us throughout our childhood, then into teenage years, then into adult life, then into our professional life, and we just keep reinventing different versions of proving that right, because our brain is just trying to protect us from ever feeling that pain and that humiliation ever again. And I hope that these stories are kind of helping you to sort of like think, wow, okay, if you go deeper, what is it that actually is the reason which is stopping you from doing what I originally asked you, looking at, what it is that's stopping you in your marketing and putting yourself forward. Because I went on a harbour cruise back when you could go on harbour cruises, and it was an insolvency company had put it on, and there were all the best accountants in Sydney were there, and Melbourne, and some people had flown up, and from in regional areas too, they'd flown in. And we were talking to a partner in a bigger firm in our local area, and he was just going, God, they had to turn their marketing off. He said, because every time we turn our marketing on, we get inundated with clients. It's huge, it's full on, marketing works, and he just had, the difference with him was that he had an absolute belief that he said, when we turn the marketing funnel on, when we start advertising, when we start doing blogs and shooting video and just putting it out there that we're opening up the doors for new business, it just comes flooding in. And we actually can't cope. And their problem was that they couldn't actually hire enough good accountants to keep up with the flow of work. So what was fascinating is talking to him, he had a belief that marketing works. You turn on the switch, you get personal, you talk to your audience, the clients come flooding in. And so when that's your belief, that is typically actually when you believe that 100% to your heart, and you're not just something that you're faking and telling yourself, then that's what happens. And they had to turn it off because they couldn't keep up with the flow. You really need to dive deep. You need to go back and look at that period between 0 to 7 when our beliefs were made. And it's really hard because a lot of us can't even remember that far back. But you can even go back to school and high school. And what I do is basically I journal. So some people go and have hypnosis if it's really deep set and there's some real serious trauma. And if that is the case, then I really, really greatly recommend that you do please talk to a professional. If any of this is triggering you, please talk to a professional and really, like I'm just sharing with you my experiences and what I've read and know. But like real stuff, like really traumatic stuff, seek professional help, because you could have it turned off for good reason, because there's buried stuff there. But, for most of us, it's just some weird thing that happened to us. The thing that came for me about my self-belief about I have to be really good, this whole perfectionism thing, came from being a young girl, the oldest, the young pretty one, the good daughter. I was very much the good daughter. I could sing, I could dance, I was good at school. And so every time I did these things, I was celebrated very much. And so for me, it was kind of like, oh, be good, be loved. Oh, okay, fantastic. Be ordinary and not not be celebrated, which in my little girl world, in my head, meant not loved. Of course, I was loved, but it didn't feel like that to me. So then I came to realize, oh, right, shit, be good, be loved, excel, be perfect, be loved, be noticed. People will pay attention to you. In my family, we very much celebrated around being, if you were good, you were very celebrated. My mum actually she made me one whole big enormous pavlova, and that was my favourite food on the planet. And we didn't have a lot of money back then, and she made me an enormous big pavlova, and I got to sit there in front of my other sister and my family, and I was allowed to eat that entire pavlova to myself because I got honours in a dancing exam. And I sat there and I just felt so celebrated. I felt so special. And my poor other sister had nothing. And things didn't come as easily to her at that age. And it was kind of like, wow, so she grew up with a very different belief. And unfortunately, she rebelled and was naughty, and that's how she got her attention, was to be the naughty one and the mischievous one. And so she acted out in that way too. So when you're talking about what are your fears and about being criticized, it's kind of like maybe it's a similar thing for you too. It's if you maybe what happened to you as a little girl was when if you went out on a limb, you actually got criticized at some point quite heavily and felt a lot of shame and humiliation and embarrassed, and you kind of from that moment on you kind of like went, yeah, well, screw that, screw being vulnerable, screw trying and doing something different. I'm going back to the model of be good, be celebrated. Just saying, only you will know, and it's personal for everybody. And it's not like we should go out there and hate on our parents or hate on the people that did this to us. Like they were just doing what they did the best that they knew how to at the time as well. It's just now that we're adults, it's really time to unhook ourselves from these really crazy beliefs that we created as a child to protect us back then, to make us feel safe. It's now time to ditch them and to start living way more consciously and in the moment right now, and realize that we are not letting that 0 to 7-year-old child run our life anymore. So for me, it's very much about, the next time I launch this program, it's very much about shouting it from the rooftops and having the absolute, and not just knowing it, but believing it, that I deserve and other people deserve to be, this information to help them and to work within their parameters and be able to do this. And that, there will be people that see the course and just go, so not worth it. I'm not spending my money on that. And there are other people that think it's genius and will totally go on board and do it. And, and both is okay. You're not less lovable if you didn't impress everybody. So the best way to explore it, one of the people that I get some coaching from is I used to just journal at random times of the day. But in actual fact, the first time when you wake up in the morning, if you literally just roll over in bed, grab your journal, jump back into bed and just start writing, because I can't explain it to you. You can Google it. But there's a certain part of our brain. We're kind of still in that half sleep, half awakened mode. And we're way more real, and we're way more in that part of our brain where we're going to be more honest and deep and in touch with what's really going on, and the words will just flow. And if you just committed to writing a page or two every morning and just writing, not thinking consciously about what will I write about today, it's just like, well, what do I feel today? And you just start writing. And then it will really, really help uncover some of this stuff. And then I also find meditating is another fantastic way to really quieten the mind and get outside of that monkey mind, that ever thinking mind that is just going a million miles an hour. And you just really, you sit and you in the space, you try and meditate for about 20 minutes. Pretty simple. Is you sit, really find somewhere quietly, set yourself up, make sure you've freshly watered, gone to the toilet, done all those things. I just put on really, really gentle, quiet music, kind of rainforesty music. Set the timer for 20 minutes. Then I do like 3 really big breathing from the diaphragm, very big breath in and out to sort of get the old style air out, good, fresh, clean air in, and it kind of gets a whole lot of oxygen into your brain. And then I basically do 10 really long, deep diaphragmatic breaths. Eyes closed, really quiet, legs crossed, hands kind of just really gentle like this in your lap. And just count backwards from 10 for each breath. So, breathe in for 1 and then out. Breathe in for 2. And just stay really focused on the counting. And that kind of like just focuses your brain and trains your brain just into quietening down and just focusing on the counting. And then focusing in on the breathing if you need to. But I don't even need to do that so much. And then just staying really still for 20 minutes. And you'll find that a thought will come in and then a thought, and just sort of like just kind of push it out. You don't have, but not aggressively. It's just kind of like, something will just come in and just let it go. And if you're really struggling with keeping all the thoughts quiet, just maybe only just practice for 5 minutes, and just build up. It's kind of like going for a run. You're not just going to strap on your shoes and go out and think you're going to do a 5K or a 10K run, depending on your fitness level. You're going to start, 1K or 2K. So start for just 5 minutes, or maybe even just start practicing with just breathing to 10, and then that's it. That's your meditation, and then just try again. So basically, I got pretty good at meditating fast because I went to the Nantian temple in Wollongong back in May last year, and because I'd always struggled with meditating right up until then, I used to always fall asleep because I was lying down. So the best thing was sit up, don't lie down, and I was breathing too shallow, so I just drift off to sleep because I'm an excellent sleeper. So basically, keep the breathing really diaphragmatic and get that oxygen in. And so what it does is it gives your brain an opportunity to practice not being so full and in that lizard brain where you're thinking all the time and trying to find evidence for all these self-limiting beliefs that you have. So basically, you're just kind of emptying the mind and just going a bit blank. And then often when you come out of the meditation, then throughout the day, you'll have these pretty earth-shattering, really great moments where just a bit of clarity will just pop into your brain and you're kind of like, that's why that happened. Or you might have a memory or a vision of what it is that you need to remember, that old trauma, or what it is that's holding you back now, that's stopping you from pushing record on the video camera, or it's stopping you from, making that cold call to a potential client that you were given the number to and is going to probably be able to help your business, but you're feeling so much in fear around whatever it is that's holding you back that you can't do it. So, this stuff is deep, I get it, but if you can really get to the bottom of the source of what it is that's holding you back, that's when you can really start taking this connection marketing to a whole new level. And that's when you can really start getting the growth that you really, really, really want in your business. And it's not the technical stuff that's holding you back. It's not when I lose 5 kilos. It's not when I can afford a better video camera. Man, it's not when I get a marketing assistant. It's right now I can do these things because I believe it. So basically what I want to do now is just share with you a bit of a manifesting formula. This is a bit deep and a bit airy-fairy, but I love this stuff, and I get notifications. I've got the Secret app, which is really cool. So every day it sort of sends you different affirmations and different inspiration. Oh, Kelly just said, yeah, whatever works. Exactly. And so basically I got the affirmation this morning, and I'll actually share it with you. It was really cool. And it's so true. So true. I actually saved it because I wanted to read it out. Here it is. There is no time for the universe, and there is no size for the universe. It is easy to manifest $1 as it is just as easy to manifest $1 million. It is the same process. And the only reason why one may come faster and the other may take longer is because you thought $1 million was a lot of money and that $1 was not very much money. Remember what I was saying before about beliefs? So basically, why do I have one client who was a croupier at the casino 12 years ago and now runs one of the largest caravan and camping businesses in all of Australia and is launching into America? Why did that croupier from that casino have the self-belief and the gall to run this massive company now? And let me tell you, has made 1 trillion mistakes along the way and has copped tons of criticism along the way and has made tons of enemies, tons of friends, tons of enemies. Like, he's done some stuff really poorly and some stuff really well. But what is it that drives him and gets him to running, God knows how many hundreds of millions of dollars that man is, his company is making every year and now going into the States? What drives him to do that when he has such humble, modest, working class background? And I know the man personally. He has a very modest background. And his other sibling is not anywhere near as successful as him. Nothing, not a patch. What drives him and not the other guy? And then why do I have some clients that can't turn over $100,000? It all comes down to self-belief and what we truly believe we are capable of doing. And we'll wrap that up. We will spend a lifetime looking for the evidence to support that belief, until we can push through. And it all goes back to going back deep and looking at what time in our lives did we create that belief as a child, and then we bring that now into our future self now in our unconscious beliefs and is really holding us back. It comes down to a choice. First of all, you need to really choose what the hell that you want, and it comes down to actually understanding what you want. A lot of people don't even take the time to really, really say, this is what I want, this is my goals, this is my vision, this is my passion, this is my purpose, this is what I'm made for. This resonates with me. And you need to sort of revisit and come back to that daily. You need to remind yourself, because I truly believe that the people, like I said, with my client that is now running, the croupier from the casino who is now running this bloody $500,000 business, $500,000,000 business, um, his unwavering belief is that he is committed to the cause. He chose this path in life and he chose it unwavering. And the second part of it obviously is the belief thing, but he revisits his what he wants to do with his life. He revisits that, I would say, on an hourly basis. It is all consuming for him. You also want to set the intention every day about what you're doing. So I sort of came up with this goal sheet the other day. This is a KPI, and I'll share that with you. I've actually got it. I'm going to be looking over here because that's where I've got it stuck up on my computer. And these are my personal KPIs every day. What I ask myself. So, what is my focus today? So, really, before you even start work, well, what is my focus? So, today, I set my intention. The other day, my intention was, my focus was all about creating content. I went out and I shot 3 podcast episodes. So my intention today is to build content for my business. That's my focus. I'm just going to focus on that and do a great job. What are the 3 key things that will help my future self today? Well, one was creating that content for my business. The other one was a couple of cold calls that I had to do to future clients. And the other one was putting up some content on social media just to keep the traction there and talk about it. What mindset do I need today? Well, because I was creating that video and that content, I need to be positive, I need to be up, I need to be really feeling my charisma and really intentional around building connection. The next question was, okay, so these are the personal things I get into now. Have I moved for 30 minutes today? And I think I did. I very much set a KPI for myself that I will physically move every day. So I was just tuning in with myself. Have I meditated for 30 minutes a day? Yes. I also have taken up singing again. Have I sung for 30 minutes? I think I did that day. That was really good because that's really uplifting. That's my hobby and that's my creative juice, and it's a whole other topic. And then what am I grateful for today? So I always make sure that I take some time just to reflect on what I'm grateful for, and that puts you in a really good heart-centered space, and that really opens up the self-belief stuff as well. What did I create today? That was easy. That was when I was creating content, so I was in a very happy place. And did I read my goals today? So it's really all about reconnecting and getting back to my goals and just making sure that I'm on path and that I was on track and that I was looking after the big picture. So basically, if you notice when I talked about that day, I hadn't done any work in the business. In the business, like I wasn't building a website, I wasn't doing any design, I wasn't writing copy. I have got people in my team that can do that, and the more that I make sure that they're doing that, the more I can be doing these jobs that I need to do to make sure that I reach the goals that I need to reach. And when I get tripped up is when I basically go back into the land of perfectionism, is when I get too bogged down myself personally in delivering the work. And I reckon that's what holds up so many business owners. And it's easy to justify it. We can all get into, well, I didn't market today because I was so busy just getting out those 15 tax returns that I had to do for all my clients, or for me, I had to finish that website that I was doing, and then I had to write that copy for that website, and then I had to check all that graphic design that my designer was doing, and I was so busy by the end of that, I didn't get a chance to put up, I didn't do that blog I meant to do, I didn't send out that newsletter, and I didn't get to, contacting those people for the podcast, So you've got to really, really double check yourself all the time. It's like, well, how did I spend my day today? And you can only really do that, and that comes down to the choice. What choices am I making today, which is helping me get to my future self? That is what choice is all about. So just be really, and own your choices. So if you didn't get around to doing what you wanted to do, setting your attention around the things that you need to do for your marketing, that's okay. You just have to accept that what choices did you do to get there. And then if you don't actually like that you didn't do the things that you said you were going to do, well, what choices are you going to make tomorrow that are going to make it better so that you do actually get back on track and you reach your goals? And you can only do this if you keep revisiting your goals regularly. You need to check in with your goals daily. And I know they even said that there's one of the best books out there, Think and Grow Rich. And it was written by Napoleon Hill, I think his name was. It was written, so long ago, 100 years ago or something. Crazy. One of the things that he said was you must be incredibly intentional in your day, how you spend your time, and you must revisit your goals every single morning and every single night, and even throughout the day. Just revisit them, revisit them. That's why people have vision boards, but we can get too caught up in putting beautiful, pretty pictures up there that we just don't keep it simple. It could just be, 10 key words that you have that just get you back, brings you back on track, and you just say them to you. You have them as, have them as a screenshot on your phone. You have them on your desktop computer. You have them as a poster on your wall. You just have them everywhere around you. You could have them stuck on your mirror when you're, brushing your teeth in the morning. You have those goals there, and you constantly remind yourself so you don't get pulled off track every day. And that all comes down to, like I said, first key to manifesting what you want is choices. What choices are you making? Are they taking you towards your goals, or are they just taking you back into safety and away from your goals? So that's why you need to understand what your fears and your beliefs are, because unless you have those things sorted out, they're going to totally affect the choices that you make. So that's the next thing is how committed are you to the cause? You really need to understand your commitment. And if you're not that committed, it could be around your beliefs, it could be around a million different things. It could be just that you physically actually can't do it. You can't exercise what it is that you want to exercise. But don't get caught up in I can't with I believe, because it all comes down to beliefs, doesn't it? So I got caught up in for a decade. I got very much caught up in the belief of, because I was very much running my own business. I had 3 dependent children. I still do, but they're older now. So I very much believe that, well, I can't take risks because I am the sole provider for my children and my family. We've got this big house, this big machine, this big life that I'm feeding, and I can't risk anything happening to that. And so my belief was fear-based, very fear-based. I can't risk that. And it all just came back to my original belief of playing small and being perfect and not falling from the ladder and daring to fail because then I'm unlovable. So you've got to really look at, go deep. You've just got to keep asking yourself, but why? But why? But why? It has to come up all the time when you're making these statements around how you spend your time and what choices you make and how committed you are. And the next one is just energy. How are you going to create the energy within yourself to actually make this happen? Because we all are just energy, and what we fear we attract, and what we desire we repel. It's I read that the other day, and it's so true. But what we believe is what sticks. So that's huge, and it's something to really think about. You think about all the time. When you're living in fear and you're thinking about something constantly. When it comes to a fear thing, you might be fearing that you're not going to have enough clients this week or enough work this month, and you fear it and you think about it constantly. It's kind of what you attract, unfortunately. Whereas, what you desire is also what you repel too. If you want something so badly, it's just wanting. There's a big difference between wanting and choosing. Whereas if you actually believe if you have the belief that, no, I'm definitely going to have enough clients this month because I believe it, then the actions that you're going to take to make that happen is all around the choices that you make to make that happen. And then it becomes real. And then it just becomes an energy flow. And it's just this beautiful flow of belief, choice, energy, and then you get it. So it's this beautiful flow, and that's kind of the law of attraction explained in a nutshell. You have to be ready for this kind of stuff. And for some people, like what you sort of said, Nathan, what happens if you don't make the choice? That's cool. If you're not ready for it, if you're in a really busy time of your life, and for me, maybe I wasn't ready for it back when I was, my kids were younger, and, I was balancing that incredible balance between work and life and their lives. And then, then when I lost my partner, died, like, God, that not ready for anything yet. The timing's not right then. So I've gone through an incredible amount of growth now. And now the time is right to do these things. I'm middle-aged, but it's always, I'm choosing now. I would just challenge you, I guess there's one activity to do after this is, what's that one job that's on your list all the time and you're just not getting to it? So for some people it might be send out a newsletter. For me, I don't send out newsletters often enough. So really I should explore, next time I journal, why am I not sending out my newsletter enough? And I can guarantee you it comes back to probably perfectionism. I already know what it is because I've been doing this enough now that I can get to the answer pretty quickly. I know that I don't want a scrappy newsletter to go out. I really I'm very fearful of when people unsubscribe. So, and I know that, when you put out high quality content, if they still unsubscribe, then I'm okay with it because I realize I'm not for them. But if I put out like a half-assed newsletter where the info I feel like it's okay, it's a bit of a filler stuff, and then they unsubscribe, I'll kick myself because I'm kind of like, damn it, you're all about quality and you know you should have put out something good. But then I have to query, well, perfectionism is all about me too wanting to be loved. So I've got to be careful that I get the balance right between I put out good content that's valuable that people like, but I'm not doing it because I want to be loved. I'm just doing it to be helpful. And I should be unattached to basically, if you unsubscribe, and that's cool, you're never meant for me. And that it has no meaning and it's not personal and it's not something to be fearful of. So there you go. So that's what I want you to do. So that's one of my things on my list that just seems to keep ticking over every week. So I challenge you guys, what's on your list? What is that one marketing job you are not getting to? Because I guarantee you, you've got some weird ass belief behind it and you need to make a conscious choice to either change that or to not change that. It's cool because whatever you choose to do is your choice. And this is what leads to your life and the way it spins. This is why some people are radically successful in love or radically successful in their business, radically successful in their investments, whatever it is that they choose, or a choice.
Thanks so much for coming and listening to the episode of Connected with Melissa J. Scott. I really hope you learned something about yourself and possibly what your subconscious has been holding you back from doing in your marketing all this time. I really do encourage you to reach out and talk to a professional if something has triggered you or really bothering you or you want to learn more about yourself. You can certainly do some of the things that I suggested in the podcast and help yourself through journaling or meditating or whatever it is that you need to do, or just deep self-reflection or speaking to a trusted friend. But please reach out and get professional help if you think that there's something much bigger going on for you. I really highly recommend that. And if you want to talk to me about marketing, if you want to get involved with the Connection Marketing course that's about to reopen, or if you want to talk to me about yourself in your business one-to-one as a marketing consult, really, really happy to help you. And this is such a great topic. It can really help a lot of people. So I'd be really encouraged if you shared it amongst your peers and your business colleagues, and we get this message out there of how we can be living a bigger and better life and a more connected life to what our true purpose is and who we truly are. I hope you really enjoyed the episode.